Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About YouABQ.
Oh, that's right. It is all about YouABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, lifestyle, so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now, the way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests that you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out, join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
I'm Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage Home Loan Expert.
Now, you probably recognize Grant as the head coach of the University of New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team, and now he's crushing it as a carpet salesman. Check out this new rug we got.
Yeah, it's straight from the Garbage Pail Kids. You may have seen Skip at HGTV's House Hunters, and he's part of the top 2% producing real estate agents in the city.
Let's talk about this. Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. Rick Devine, the executive director of The Rock at Noonday, which is a community shelter here in the downtown area.
Right.
It's making a difference for some of our outdoor Americans, our unhoused.
Yeah, so this is a participant that I have used for the last 5 years. I do a coat drive every winter, and I send the coats over there, whether it be men's and women's and children's coats, and they do a wonderful job over there. And that's a conglomerate of feeding and helping and counseling and housing.
But Rick's got a cool backstory in the fact that he's from Colorado, bounced to Texas, and ended up following his stars to Albuquerque. So we're going to hear more about that story coming up with the next segment. Then stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, why we're all here and tuned in. It's Skip's Tips. This is season 3, just empowering women and showcasing everything. So this is the new set, the new look.
What did you do this weekend?
I don't even know what today is. Oh, well, following the saga, my wife and I have been searching for a new house for the past couple years.
Oh, I know.
We were able to get into contract for a nice little spot and, made it through the home inspections for the most part. And the loan as well. But, the saga continues. As we were closing up on the final day of home inspection. Yeah, I was just telling Grant, we were finishing up the final home inspection, and my friend All Night Allen, who's like 6'3", he's like, hey, let me just check one more thing. And he put his finger up to the ceiling, and the heavens opened up. It started raining inside. So shout out All Night Allen for helping us dodge a bullet.
Exposing the aquarium that was being held upstairs.
It's the old attic aquarium, which is where this rug
A couple of tuna came down, had some lunch.
Current events. Oh, sorry.
No, if you guys got over, you had a household illness, which I have actually, the prognosis I think is severe allergies. Because you guys still have it, right?
Well, I'm on the mend. Ash is on the mend. The kids are still blowing green snot, but
I feel like I still have it. I have allergies, and I don't want to make every episode predicated on allergies, but I still feel it, and I get a Kenalog shot. So I think it's still in the air. Again, I'll remind you, the city has a website, and they'll send you daily emails as to how much pollen count per mulberry, elm, juniper in the city, and you can kind of figure out, hey, I'm staying indoors. There's a strong probability that my throat will close up figuratively. So be careful out there, fellas.
Current events. The 2024 legislative 30-day session has come to an end with a record $10.2 billion budget expected to be signed by the governor. So here's some favorable highlights. I'm sure you've been following this at home.
Oh man, the ticker.
But when it comes to real estate, rent control bills were not allowed in this budget-focused session. Rent control has been a big thing here. It took over New York, California, and it's making its way here to Albuquerque, but property owners don't want to be forced into rent control situations, so stay tuned to see how rent control plays out.
Let me ask you a question about rent control, because I honestly don't know this. Is it will only let you hike it up a certain amount? What if the people leave? Do you get to reestablish a rent?
Great question. Yeah, it's a great question. I'm not 100% sure.
Great question. Next.
Yeah, next. $500 million budget was allocated to the MFA Housing Trust Fund, so that's right up your alley. MFA is the mortgage finance authority that helps people with down payment, closing costs, and getting into housing. Part of our Housing Forward initiative as well.
You should put down zero money. It's a good sign.
Yeah.
You're ready for a house.
You
I don't have any money, ready for a house. Hot water heater breaks, I'm out of here.
Yeah. burn it to the ground.
You should always have no skin in the game. That always promises longevity in house ownership.
Yeah, just poke your
Sarcasm.
Occupancy surtax on short-term rentals was defeated. Again, there's a big buzz about short-term rentals and how is the city going to profit off it. So the short-term rentals.
How do we misallocate more
surtax.
funds coming in? Please.
Tax reform bill was passed with many improvements to our tax law. You know, I was trying to do some research to figure out what kind of the changes there were to our tax law, but I fell asleep while reading it. Anybody that knows me knows that I have people that do taxes, that I'm not going to sit here and read tax law. But
What's your time worth?
roundabout. Restrictions on condominium rental rules were also defeated. So, you know, a lot of things were going through the roundhouse for real estate-based items.
What was the purpose? What was the purpose behind the condominium? They didn't want that.
Again, you know, when it comes down to if you own a property, it's more of is the government allowed to tell you how long you're allowed to rent it out for. Short-term rental, I think, again, comes into play here.
We could talk about, let's touch on condos. Okay, so when people do house searches and they say, hey, I have these parameters, I can only buy between 135,000 and 210. A lot of times people will talk about, hey, I found a condo. The caveat is,
well, the condos are more affordable, meaning, hey, I can now afford this, except for that pesky monthly homeowners association.
Oh, $405? Oh, well, we have a pool. That's it.
Yeah.
The trees are dead, grass is dead, we have a pool.
Yeah.
There's only 3 floating diapers in there.
And this rug.
This rug sucks.
But what does that equate out to? Because that's always funny. I have, you know, limited income buyers who are qualified up to, call it 220, and it's a challenge to find it. But what's the difference between like purchasing a house at 220 or
probably a house at 275, right? If you add in that $400, you can really bump up. In which case, though, they can't afford it. I mean, everyone forgets, or they don't forget, but a lot of times what's bypassed when they look at this price is they're not aware. A lot of people aren't aware there's condo association fees that are very egregious. So just be aware of that. The condos seemingly are a good deal, but they won't let you be in there unless they collect way too much money.
Yeah, and there's always assessments and stuff that roll with it. So keep that in mind. But one thing we wanted to chat about was new home construction. Yeah. I had the opportunity to visit D.R. Horton's new home construction this weekend to look at their new product.
Chris Anderson, superintendent.
Superintendent.
Yeah, superintendent.
But you were brought up a cool point in the fact that home builders are offering, call it teaser rates, where you can get a mortgage at 5% rate when rates are close to 8 right now.
Yeah, and so I'll tell you what, there's no free lunch. So when they offer this rate, it's subsidized in a way, but there's no way that they aren't making up for their losses. A 5% rate obviously would be considered a buy down in this climate. This is going to be tacked onto the price. This isn't from the goodness of their own heart. So this house might cost $330 normally. It now costs $343, and seemingly it looks like a good deal. And not that you can negotiate the price down because that's the offering, but I'll tell you, in the back end, they're making up their money. Yeah.
Yeah, builders in the back end. That seems like it's synonymous.
You know the saying, builders in the back end, plugging away. All right, so let's actually, while we're on the topic of new builds, let's talk about construction loan on this Mortgage Minute. So we're in a segue of construction, and there's many ways to do a construction loans. You can do it obviously through a builder. You can actually do it privately too. I'm going to talk about construction loans and another specific niche product. Construction loans, often you will own the land, and land, while we're on the subject, usually requires 20 or 25% down. When you get the land, then you go into a construction loan. You can go into construction permanent financing loan, in which case they set out and find out how much you would need to build the house. And then they do a projected equity or projected a value, and that would be your equity. So your loan to value could easily be 75% when they take into account by the time this house is finished, here's the overall value of your house. Now, that works in terms of it's called a one-time closing. You can actually do a closing that converts into permanent financing, and your lock could be up to 9 months. It'll cost you some more money, or you can wait to the very last month and lock it in. But you can close on your construction and permanent at the same time and have a rate, or you can, to be determined for your rate, but you can do one-time closing. And let's move into the other product. It's a VA land construction permanent loan. This one will still require some money down. In the VA handbook, it'll tell you that you can do 100% financing. Good luck finding a bank that will actually engage that way. But it is a way for you to go get into the land get the construction loan, and then be on your way for permanent financing all in one transaction. It's VA specific. Contact me if you want to find out some details about it, but it's kind of a neat product that a lot of people don't know about in VA. That's your Mortgage Minute.
Always good info. Coming up in our next segment, we're joined by Rick Devine, who's the Executive Director of The Rock at Noonday. He's going to drop some knowledge on us on what's going on with our unhoused and how we can get involved and help generate some money to help their business grow as well. So stay tuned to the next segment. This is YouABQ. Oh, welcome back to YouABQ. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage Home Loan Expert.
And we're joined by Rick Devine, the Executive Director of The Rock at Noonday. Now, Rick is an experienced humanitarian and social service professional with a passion for helping the less fortunate. So we're going to find out a little bit more about you, Rick. Thanks for coming to the show. I appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having me, guys.
So how in the hell did you end up in Albuquerque, born in Colorado?
Yeah, actually, no, I was actually born in Central America, but then moved after the Civil War in my country to Colorado when I was about 5.
What country?
Pump the brakes.
El Salvador.
El Salvador. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a long walk up there. What was it like when you migrated? How old
Yeah,
were you?
so I was a refugee. So so we came here, me and my sister. The rest of my family didn't make it, but we moved to Colorado and were adopted, and Colorado's been really my home more or less. So.
That's a fantastic story. So from there, you've lived a couple of places. I mean, Texas.
Yeah, so I worked in the Middle East and Europe for a couple of years, so that's really where I got my passion and work with just people that are less fortunate and just hurting because of where I came from. So, and then to get my master's, I went to Fort Worth and lived there for 4 or 5 years, and then got my degree and then started working there.
So you've got some world perspective in the fact that you've lived in many different places, many different cultures. And then you ended up in Albuquerque. So you've been in Albuquerque for a couple of years. I mean, what's your take on us? How does our little city compare to the rest of the world?
Yeah, so when I first heard about this job, I actually said no to that job. I was like, there's no way I'm going to Albuquerque. There's that battle of Colorado and New Mexico constantly, even with our green chili, right? That's the main battle point.
It's not really a battle.
I don't think Colorado people even care.
No, I don't.
They don't care at all. We pretend that they care, but they don't care. They've got a lot of things going for them.
You know what's funny? It's like I don't even think New Mexico's on Colorado's radar. And I've met people from Colorado who are like, yeah, I mean, we know you exist, but we're more concerned about how shitty Texas is. And like, the underlying joke is that like during the winter seasons, Texans invade New Mexico and to our ski hills.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they always come in jeans. So you can always tell who the Texans are because y'all ski in jeans. I'm going to say it. Y'all ski in jeans. And that's confirmed by people in Colorado and New Mexico as well. So
And those Oklahoma people skiing in overalls.
they
That's
can't
gotta
ski
stop.
anyways.
And the drivers, the way they drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But us, yeah, we drive crazy.
No, we're
Oh.
perfect here.
Oh, we do. We're bad drivers. No turn signals. Just riding our. Anyways, let's get back on subject.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you found, comfort in, or what do you think some of the selling features are of Albuquerque? What do you enjoy about it?
Yeah, one of the neatest things about Colorado is just the culture. New Mexico, actually, sorry. And I just enjoy the food, the people, and even the mountains where I can go trail running and just enjoying nature for what it is. And, it's from Albuquerque, maybe a 10-minute drive to go out in nature, biking or running, and just enjoying the things that, you would not get in Texas as easy, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think the landscape of Albuquerque is usually a reoccurring answer. The mountains, I think you've been privy to where it can be flat, and you look and all you see is water towers, or some kind of thing that obstructs like what would be natural beauty. Is just stuff in the air, or radio. And
Yeah,
other
in a
stuff.
strip mall. So, experienced humanitarian. Now, talk a little bit more about your background in what draws you to that field and being a humanitarian.
Yeah, so I guess it goes back to just my lifestyle, right, where I didn't have the services to help me as a kid. So, just growing up, I wanted to provide services or help people with those services. So when I worked in the Middle East, I worked for a nonprofit that provided humanitarian aid in refugee camps. So we would travel near Syria during the time of the war and work in the refugee camps and also on the refugee highway, as they call it. So there's 3 different refugee trails that they go up from Europe to Europe, so from Africa to Middle East and then from Asia. So our role was just to make sure that these people were provided the essential services.
Yeah. So you ended up in Texas. What were you doing in Texas?
Yeah, so I was getting my degree in counseling.
Okay.
I felt I was very inadequate when I was working in the Middle East as helping people. You know, I like giving people blankets and talking to them, but I didn't really have the skills that I needed to really walk with someone that has gone through suffering and loss.
So how did you get? So you were choosing between Colorado and New Mexico again. What was the offering, or what was the flow chart about? Who was offering the jobs to you?
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't just Colorado. I actually wanted to go back to the Middle East and work,
Okay.
kind of doing humanitarian aid work. But New Mexico was just attractive. It was closer to my home, my family. And again, you know, my family's getting older, so I just wanted to be closer during that time and just being there for them. So.
Okay, so let's talk about the institution of the Rock at Noonday. It's a Christian-led, right, and not-for-profit, which is an advantage, right? We spoke about that. And let's talk about the story how I met him. I had these garbage bags full of coats and clothes, and every year I deposit them over at the place. And the reason why I did is they're very organized. They have things on hangers. They have things by sizes, gender, kids, men. So when I saw that, we had done community service about 5 years ago, and they put us to work and did grunt work, and we're spraying down chairs and cleaning up tables with power washers. And then I was privy to watching their clothes inventory, and I go, that's what I like. I like people that get donations and they're organized and they do something with it so people can actually get into the clothes. So repeatedly in a perennial fashion, I was bringing clothes over there, and so I peeked over the fence, and this guy, he was probably like, "What are you doing?" But I was like, "Hey, anyways, you know, I used to volunteer here." So that's how we started talking, and so he made it clear that they're not a not-for-profit, and that gives you more liberties. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we're nonprofit. So one of the things that we do is we don't take federal or state funding, and we're just solely on private donations. Churches.
Which is rare in New Mexico, man. We were all about giving out the government help, right?
Yeah, and the reason that we don't do that is because we hold on to the core value of what we believe in, and we will always stand on that. I think that we can do a lot better work when we're not limited by other people telling us how to do it.
Right.
And we feel like that's more effective in how we help people.
So let's talk about the services you give currently and where you're going with this in the future. What do you do currently?
Yeah, so you know, our hours are from Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 1. So we provide breakfast from 9 to 9:30, and then lunch from 12 to 12:30. And during that time, individuals can come in, take a shower from 9 to 11, get laundry services. That we wash their clothes, we dry their clothes for them. We don't fold them, we let them fold it. But we provide an educational room as well, where we do life skills. We work with Goodwill, and they provide these life skills for budgeting, for social learning, so that they can get better and get back into society. So we work with a lot of different agencies that we may not always align with, but we believe that they have good things for our people, and we'll do the best we can to bring that to them.
There's other centers in town. We were having this conversation about there's a $5 million center in town, right? That was their goal was to help and counsel and create safe space for homeless. But talk about how you operate a little bit different from that one, and what makes you guys so successful.
Yeah, so the place that you're talking about there was a lot of money poured into it, and they're still building it, constructing it, and just the issues with that is when you have such a big facility, the services become less effective in the sense of that you're trying to provide so much that you're not just narrowing it down and helping individuals. And what we do is we run on a very tight budget, and we're proud of that. We do a lot of things effectively, and we believe that individuals that come in really get the treatment that they need by talking to us, and they have face-to-face contact. They don't have to wait for a referral, but we can actually work with them on the spot.
Yeah, so you do some counseling, I take it, right? So how does one find out about your place and in the streets? And second, how do they find out about counseling, or what's the steps?
Yeah, so I mean, the Rock and Noonday has been here since 1983, but in 1986 they got established, and it was on Broadway and Central years before we moved down to on Second Manal. And really the best way they come in is to just ask us what they're looking for, and we'll just share with them what we have as resources. But we connect them right away to the resources that we have. But we have providers coming in on a daily basis, like housing today. For example, we had the Good Shepherd come in today, and they're a housing agency that helps people get back into housing and affordable housing, I should say. And in that's how we really work with our clientele, is by bringing our resources to them. So instead of expecting them to go out, we say, come to us and we'll provide everything that we can at a quicker basis for that.
Yeah, so what we were discussing is that you guys are kind of a all-in-one community center where we can do laundry, get some food, take a shower, get some education, improve some life skills, versus just like, hey, here's a pamphlet, I need you to get on the bus head up to the Heights. You're going to talk to this guy named Earl. He's going to get you a shower.
Right.
From there, you're going to go across town. And so the benefit of that is keeping everything under one roof instead of just sending everybody out into the city to go either wreak havoc or just to not be taken care of.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. I think what we're wanting to establish is even a stronger hub center, because I believe this to be true, is if you have a smaller hub centers, you're more effective in the communities that you're in. If you have one large hub center, you're not going to get our homeless population to go to where they need to go to that other place.
Plus, you'd have to say that you might lose track. I mean, just sheer numbers. It's like that in anything. When businesses grow, you lose track of quality control, probably, right? Do you track some of the success? Do you find out when you send them out and you go get them a house, or they go get themselves a house and they get a job? Do you have any tracking, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we do is currently we have a new internal database that we collect data, and the way we keep track of people is just that we have that relationship.
Okay.
They still come back and get our food boxes that we have on Fridays.
Okay.
So we're just ensuring that they do not go hungry, but they can come use our services. So our food is free to anyone that comes in. All our services are for anyone that comes in. So we are able to encourage people that do get housing to continue coming back. So the cost of other like showers or laundry or even food is not on them, but they can use the money that they need to continue going and striving to be back into society. And that's how we track them.
Where is, and you don't have to name, is there a particular place where most of your, I would say, people go get housing? I mean, is there a place that's reliable that you go, every time I have someone that's on the up and up, I can send them here?
Yeah, so the answer is no, because of the shortage of housing, right? The shortage of just apartments that they can put them in. But typically where they go is in an international district, or the war zone, as people like to call it, whatever you want to call it. But again, that's sadly a very hard situation for them to go back into, because there's still drugs, there's violence. So you're in my opinion, setting up for failure, because the people that are now wanting to relapse are going back.
They're amongst it, right?
Yeah.
So how do they? So they go up. Is it because of public transportation? Is that how they get over there? Because that's kind of far. It's not far, but it is far in a way that to dedicate themselves to go out there.
But we have free public transportation. What's the worst that could happen with that?
Yeah. So there's pros and cons to public transportation, right? I think that. And I'll be careful on how I say it, but public transportation is good for people that need to get to where they need to go that are not going to cause issues. But then you have that other bad apples, as we all have in society, where they don't care what they're going to do as long as they can get to one place to another to create havoc. And then, so there's pros and cons to both sides. But the people that do get housing, we've hired some of our staff that was homeless, and we got them housing. And they need that bus transportation to get to where they need to be.
That's great. And we're good liaisons to understand that too.
Yeah, so there's a balance, right? And I think that if you provide everything free, you're going to have repercussions for that.
Do you do drug testing, or what is there a kind of filter about when you receive somebody? Is there sometimes if they're too, what would make you go, hey, not today?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do try to do is have a relationship with these individuals that come in. And a lot of times they are high, right? A lot of times they're drunk. But if we allow them to be in the elements or cause more havoc out there, it's just going to cause more problems for our community. So one of the things that we try to do is say, hey, we're going to help you today, but make sure that you do the best you can to stay, to the best of your ability to calm. And we work with ACS, we work with other departments that kind of help regulate that. But again, it just goes back to that relationship, that rapport that we have with them that really keeps them kind of stable. When I say stable, that's a very loose word. But
let's talk about where you're headed, because when we finished up our conversation in person when I first met you, you had a project that you were working on for a women's center. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so within our facility, we really want to cater to women and children. We're seeing an increase of women and children coming into our services, and that should be disheartening for all of us, right? They're the most marginalized or the most victimized in the streets. And for us, we just want to tailor our services where there's a great need. We don't want to duplicate services, but we want to create a service that other agencies can use us. So this Women's Center will provide an educational room. There'll be an area where the women and children can lounge in, and during that time, so they're out of the general population, but they're in a place that is safe. We'll provide showers and laundry services and a therapist full time to be able to work with these people. And with that ability, you're able to do more comprehensive services to these people. And that's what we're excited for, is that if we can provide a more comprehensive service to these individuals that are very marginalized, you're likely to get them out of the homeless situation quicker. And I think that's the biggest issue that we have in nationwide, is that our services need to be more comprehensive to the need of our people.
That's wonderful.
So as a nonprofit, not taking money from the state or from the local government, how can we help you keep the lights on? Do you guys have anything up and coming that, or any ideas for fundraising that we can help get the word out about?
Yeah, so we have the rockabq.com has a link to be able to do donations monthly or whenever you feel that you want to do that. But we're probably going to launch in the next 3 to 4 months a capital campaign to be able to do these renovations. And these renovations will be part of the Women's Center, but also expanding our services to make our laundry services bigger, but also our food pantry. And then we're also going to be building office spaces for our providers that are coming outside to be inside, so that they're safe, but also there's privacy for our clientele.
Yeah.
So that will be soon on our website, and that's a place that they can come and see.
Okay.
But really my encouragement to anyone that wants to see what we're about is to come and see what a homeless shelter looks like, because I think there's that mindset is doom and gloom. But
No,
we changed
yeah.
that atmosphere because we wanted it to be positive for people no matter where they come from.
I know we don't have much time, but I'm interested in this. Are you going to be, when you say building, are you going to be partitioning the space you have, or are you going to actually be able to build out? Because I know you have limited.
Yeah, so we are limited on building out, but we're going to build in.
Okay.
So we're renovating our office space to make it into the Women's Center, and then we're just moving the tables and chairs. We're not going to losing that service, but we're just utilizing our space better, and that's what we feel is going to be the best.
That's awesome.
And it's going to be cost effective.
Do you feel as though your space would benefit from having a rug like this?
Yep, potentially. It could work in the back room somewhere. Yeah.
Keep it out of sight, out of mind.
I feel like everyone would go, no, thank you. I'm not that hard on.
Yeah, geez, I didn't know you guys just stopped caring here. Rick, we appreciate you coming by. The Rock at Noonday on 2nd and Manal. We'll have links to your website and how people can donate and get involved.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming by, man.
Thank you
It's
for
good what
doing
you're
God's work, man. That's wonderful. I think this guy's got a bleeding heart, and I think that's why I kind of got along with him. I see someone who's like-minded, and you're dedicating your life to rehabilitating people. So wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned to the final segment. I don't have to tell you, but I am going to tell you we're going to burn this rug. And it's time for
Segment 3 is arson.
Skip's Tips. Stay tuned. It's
Here's a
YouABQ.
tip: don't ever use this rug. Hi, we're back at segment 3. Thank you, Rick, for coming by. Also, we're still here with this kitty litter dusted cigarette butt infiltrated rug. We forgot to remove it. We didn't forget. We don't want to touch it ever again. Anyways, that brings us to Skip's Tips. Don't use this rug ever again. Tip 1.
Skip's Tips, you want to throw away your rugs. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun, whether that's in real estate or real life. Attention home buyers, are you handy? No. Are you picky? Yes. Are you looking for a good deal? Absolutely. I want to invite you to explore new home construction for a few different reasons. First of all, builders are offering huge incentives when it comes to interest rates, closing costs, and even buying you new appliances. So the benefit of a new home is it comes with a comprehensive warranty, and all the homes are built to the latest standards. Compare that to a used house where you might get mold in the walls. And here's the good news. We'll show you where you can find all the new home construction in brand new communities in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho. Just feel free to reach out, share this with a friend, and tell them Skip said so.
I forgot to tell you in our intro, a guy broke into my house, and I confronted him, and he said, hey, I'm looking for money. So I waited, and I said, yeah, hey, I'll help look with you.
Hey, did you check under this rug?
Where there's 6 dead people?
Look at this rug. Hold
Hold
at
on.
this
Look it
piece
up.
of shit rug. Every Wednesday
God.
night and Sunday morning on the education
This rug
channel.
makes me so mad.
Yeah, there's your tip.
I'm not happy. I'm not going for it. I'm not. Pull the plug. I'm done.
You're watching YouABQ.